I'd like to point out that this is the first time that there's been virtually no variation with the cover. The Japanese cover has a slightly more yellow tint on her skin, but it's very slight, and this is really the only change. In other reviews, I've noted differences in appearance on the front cover, but this is one where it's pretty close. Even the spines are really close this time. There's no color variation whatsoever. The back cover, again, is just slightly different. It's slightly more bright in the English version than it was in the Japanese version. As always, when you buy one of these books, you're really getting a bargain, because you are getting a book and a half. Now, this is interesting because in Japan, they didn't have too many title differences with Sailor Moon. It was just Sailor Moon for all 18 of the original volumes, and then Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon when they did the re-release manga. In America, though, it was different. Sailor Moon volumes 1 through 11 were just titled Sailor Moon, as they were in Japan. Or close to it in Japan. In Japan, it was Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon. And then something interesting happened. Tokyo Pop tried to release the Super S saga on its own before they were even finished with the Sailor Moon R story arc. So Super S and S came out simultaneously, and then Stars were the last books. So the publication date on these two is different. This is actually older than this. First difference that I noted was actually an artistic difference. When you have Sailor Moon number 10, the Tokyo Pop book, you have this black and white image of Princess Serenity, and she's on a pillar, and then you have a very faded picture of the cast, like so, and you can see it's been reversed, and it's very faded. The ink is just horrifying on this. Not so with the reprint manga. We have this nice cast shot here. Then this is in color, so you can see Princess Serenity in all her glory. There's a little more text here. Lots more detail in this picture. The cast shot is also in bright, fabulous color. That's a very big improvement right there. You know, you can see this was done in like airbrush. The airbrushing is very nice, very detailed. Very bright and colorful picture. And we've gone back to the first page being on glossy paper. I'm not quite sure, but I'm not complaining. With the Japanese book, I have a first edition. I don't have any of the others in first edition. This is the only first edition I have. And when you have first edition Japanese reprints, you get a sticker. For the first few books, you get a series of stickers, and then again, once they get to Stars. This, I have a giant sticker of Usagi. I've never taken it out. I've never used it, because I didn't know what to use it on. And it's just such a beautiful thing to open the book, and there she is. And as you can see, no difference with the art for the Japanese book. Bright, beautiful colors. And the first page is on regular paper. Each Sailor Moon book is rated ages 13 and up, which is very generous. And I want to make it very clear to the moms and dads that might be watching this, this book is not for children. This is not a coloring book. This is not something you should send little ones to see. That is your warning. I don't want to hear any snide comments about it. When Moon Sisters was brand new, I had a shot of this on the Disturbing Facts page because I had a question back then, and I still have this question. I understand how souls are in the Sailor Moon universe. I understand that the soul is what it is. It is pure. I understand that. I get the meaning. Now, to anybody else out there, can you please explain to me, why is she thanking the little girl with her boobs? Now granted, Chibiusa is over 900 years old at this point, so she is technically legal, but still, why? I keep noting in all of the videos that I do on these books that the translation is much better in the Kodansha series than in the Tokyo Pop version, and this is a very good example of what I mean by that. In the Tokyo Pop version, we see Chibiusa realizing Hotaru is dead. Don't cry, she's going to come back next book, I promise. The line here that they gave her, how can fate be so sad? And that's a decent enough line, but in the Kodansha print, we elaborate on that a little bit. How can her fate be so sad? That's a little bit closer to what she says in the Japanese version, and it tends to flow a bit better, and we see that continuing with the next page. We see her lamenting Hotaru's life, and it's just very, very basic wording, whereas the Kodansha print, she has more dialogue. You know, she's come to a realization that people go through this all the time, and that makes her very upset. You know, keep in mind, she comes from the future where people live for 1,000 years just for the sake of it. So this is a new concept. I think that the translation is much better this time around. Tokyopop flipped all of the pages in their print of the Sailor Moon manga so that it would appeal more to English readers. They even flipped the artwork from time to time. This is when Hotaru becomes Sailor Saturn in their book, and this is the Kodansha print. You can see that the symbol has remained right where it should. It's not backwards, but here you can see that they flip it. The artwork, of course, is redone in the reprint manga. There's more special effects here, and the lighting is definitely improved. There was a little bit of controversy involving Sailor Saturn's attack, and this is based on a simple translation error. In the Tokyopop version, her attack is Death Reborn Revolution, whereas in the Kodansha print, her attack is Death Ribbon Revolution. So a lot of people thought that there was a mistake, but then of course you have to ask which one is accurate. Well, in the manga, it should be Death Reborn Revolution. In the video games, however, that came out in Japan only, her attack is Death Ribbon Revolution. And as you can see in the reprint manga, there are ribbons around her. Some people have said, well, is this an attack change? Is this like swapping out Shine Aqua Illusion with Aqua Rhapsody? Well, no, actually, because they're the same attack. There's really no difference except that in the video game, this one is somewhat weaker in that it doesn't wipe out the entire screen. This one will wipe out a planet. But as far as how they're executed and how they look, it's exactly the same. So there wasn't an attack that was swapped out per se. This is just a simple translation glitch. I choose to view them as the same attack. You know, just as we see that there are instances where Shaban spray from Sailor Mercury, there are times that it can create a mist and there are times it can freeze.